Okay, you remember last year in level 1, the test was pretty easy, just one paragraph, right? With that you wrote from an article with all your topic clincher, all your dress ups, all your sentence types, right? So this one's a little more involved, but you are that much better at doing what you do, so I don't expect that you will have trouble with it. I'll say the same thing that I said this time last year, which is if you have accommodations that you normally get for testing, for instance, if you have dysgraphia, so you're allowed to use a computer for things instead of handwriting it, you can do it on this test too. If you normally get accommodations so that you get extra time when you do tests, you can do that on this one too, okay? So let's talk about this test, okay? Because I know everybody's probably a little bit anxious about it. I want you to look at the final exam prep on page 271. And this is even more doable than what you just got through doing, okay? So you're only going to do 3 practice tests, all right? And you have an hour and a half, or you have longer than that if you get accommodations. You have an hour and a half to do it, and you have 3 of them. So that means you only have to do homework on 3 days this coming 2 weeks. So there's 3 practice paragraphs. It's pass, fail. All of you will pass, and that means all of you will get 100, okay? There will not be any zeros in this class. And what the homework consists of 1 keyword outline and 1 5-paragraph essay for each of the 3, okay? So look at the top of the page. As I mentioned, if you have any kind of dysgraphia or language-related diagnosis, get your editor to contact me to make special arrangements, okay? Okay, so now let's look at the directions about doing this. Okay, during the next week, let's see, it's below where it says local students. During the next week, do 3 practice essays. Don't do more than 1 a day, okay? Because your brain needs to be fresh. Your brain will be tired when you finish this, okay? So don't try to do more than 1 a day so you can really practice doing it well, okay? Don't read the articles ahead of time. And the 3 that you're going to be writing are an article about Leo Tolstoy, who wrote War and Peace. Anybody ever read War and Peace or Anna Karenina? Okay, anyway, he's a famous author. There's another one about cowboys. And then there's another one about the 7 wonders of the world, okay? And those are on pages 239 to 247. So now let's look at, well, let's just keep going with the directions here. Okay, so what you're going to do is print 3 final exam checklists from ThinkWave. Flip over and take a look at it. Now, this is a 5-paragraph essay, and all the different paragraphs have all the usual things, but I want you to notice the style, okay? You only have to include I hope you'll write with good style the whole way through, but you only have to mark 1 of each kind of style thing. You don't have to do descriptive words. You do 1 of each kind of dress up, ly, who, which, strong verb, quality, adjective, www.asia.web, and a teeter-totter, okay? And 1 of each sentence type, subject, prepositional, ly, number 4, number 5, number 6, and then you only have to include 1 decoration, okay? And it can be whichever one you find that you like the best and is the easiest for you. Okay, I just had to remember. Okay, so as far as style goes, this is really pretty easy for y'all. It's not going to be anything overwhelming. Let's see. Okay. I've got an example here. All right. So any questions? Oh, banned. I didn't list them all at the bottom. All banned adjectives, verbs, pronouns, punctuation, and miscellaneous that have been banned this year. Okay. Now, does everybody kind of know what banned thing they tend to use the most? Have y'all started to notice that? What about Vincent? Was that a nod, Vincent?
Yeah, pretty much.
What do you use?
What do I use?
That's banned. What do you tend to use that's banned?
Probably like thing a lot, or contractions.
Okay. Laura Kate, you had your hand up.
Like.
Okay. What about you, Rosa?
Probably contractions.
Okay. And, when you're doing formal writing, that's, some people may not care. Some professors may not care about contractions, but some of them may. So it's best to learn to write without them for formal writing. Okay. Yeah. So it's a good idea. I don't know if you can hear me, Aiden, but if you can, you might tell me what yours is. Go and get tend to be two of the most popular, at least in level 1. So whatever it is that you tend to do, keep an eye out for those. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's turn back to the directions. So you're going to go ahead, just, the first day when you sit down to do the go and get and contractions. Okay. Yeah, I see that, Aiden. Okay. Just go ahead and print up 3 of these composition checklists that you can use. Okay. Then you're going to set a timer for an hour and a half. The first thing that you're going to do is quickly scan the article. You can read the introductory paragraphs and you can scan the bold headings for topics and then just decide on what your 3 topics are going to be. Some of these articles are very long. You aren't going to have time to read the whole article. Okay. So this is where you're, scanning for topics and just deciding which ones you want to do. So for instance, don't actually read this, but just take a look at the article on page 239, the cowboy article. Don't read it. Oh no, that's not on 239. It's on starts on 241. Don't read it, but you can see that it's a half a page. 1, 2, 3. It's about 4 pages altogether. No, or about 5 pages altogether. Okay. You're not going to be reading that whole article, right? If you try to read the whole article, you're not going to finish. So you just scan and you just decide which ones you want to use, the topics you want to use. So for instance, history, life of a cowboy, cowboy's equipment, and cowboy's equipment's even broken down further into clothing, horse, rope. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to scan, you're going to decide. Okay. You may use the handbook as much as you want to during the test. This is an open book test. You can use it for word lists. You can use it if you forget about topic clinchers. You can use it for anything you want to. Okay? Does that make sense? You are not required on this to have, let's see. I don't think I even have, did I even have a word count on my checklist for y'all this year? No, I guess I put that on level 1 because I have students in level 1 that always want to write like 50 word paragraphs. It's like, no. So this year I just went ahead and made it official and put it on the checklist. I had said it had to be between 125 and 300 words. You don't have to worry about the word count for this. You're not going to be writing super long paragraphs because if you do, you won't finish. But if you have a paragraph that has 4 sentences in it, I don't care. Okay. This is like in that way, this is like the ACT. In another way, this is very different from the ACT because instead of having to come up with everything, you're being given a nice article with a bunch of facts in it. And all you have to do is decide on which topics you want to write about and put them in a nice structure and dial them up. Okay? This is way easier. And you have a lot longer to do it than the ACT one. Okay? I like to do the ACT first. First, we have to because this is the final, but also the ACT is just so shocking. And then when you get to do this, you're like, what? I get an hour and a half? Cool. Okay, so that's more than twice as long as you got for the ACT. That was 40 minutes. This is 90 minutes. Okay, doesn't sound too bad, does it? Okay, you can use the handbook. Okay, so to start with, you're going to make a simple keyword outline with background information, 3 topics, thesis statement for the intro, 3 body paragraphs, 1 for each of your topics, conclusion with 3 topics, most important, written in bold letters. Okay. I'm going to show you an example in a minute. When you go to make your keyword outline out, just leave space under each section. And you can go back and quickly write down some facts for each, okay? Your keyword outline is part of your grade. So follow all the keyword outline rules. And you will do this in pen because when people write them in pencil, I just can't read them when they're scanned, okay? So then you're ready to start writing. You just use your keyword outline, start with your introduction. What do we have with what do we do in an introduction? What's the very first thing we should do? Okay, Rosa?
Attention grabber.
That's right, okay. And then we want to do, after we do that, then what can you do, Laura Kate?
Information not found in the rest of the
Yeah, some interesting background information. And then Vincent, what goes next?
And we state the 3 topics in the thesis.
Exactly. Okay. Now, this doesn't have to be like the best thesis statement in the world. You can turn to that very simple page and say, blah, blah, blah is one of the most important blah, blah, blah in blah, blah, blah. Okay? It doesn't have to be an extremely complex thesis statement, all right? Okay. I list some page numbers there. Then you're going to go back and underline your dress-ups and number your sentence types by writing them in the margin on the line in which they appear. Put a dotted line under your decoration. Make sure you have the words most important or most significant in your conclusion, and you're going to have an MLA heading. Now, I've got a partially written essay here for our example that I'm going to share with you, and then I'll later put it on the website. But right now I'd like to look at a sample article, and let's just practice doing this. This is one that we are not going to be using for homework. Hold on just a second. Okay, this is on page 238. And this is chocolate. All right. Don't read the other articles ahead of time, because if you do, you won't have good practice for just doing them like on demand when you get your final exam to read, okay? Now, across the top there underneath assignment number 14, please write, do not use this for homework. I need to put that in this handbook. Okay, you don't have to write an essay from this. We're about to use this as an example. I need to make sure I correct this on my handbook this year. Okay, so this is what I wrote. Do not use this for homework. Okay, we're just using this as an example. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to just quickly scan what some possible topics are. First of all, read the introduction paragraph. Chocolate is a food made from the seeds of a tropical tree called the cacao. The word cacao apparently comes from two Maya Indian words meaning bitter juice. The word chocolate came from two Maya words meaning sour water. Okay, so that's a little bit of intro information. It's interesting. All right, now I'm going to see what other topics, what topics I have. I'm just going to let you go around the room and, okay, Laura Kate, what do you see as the first possible topic there?
The tree.
That's right. Okay, Rosa.
Harvesting the beans.
Okay, Vincent.
Manufacturing it.
Okay. Laura Kate, the next one.
The products.
Okay.
Chocolate
Rosa.
products.
Food value.
Okay. And Vincent.
History.
History. Okay. So these are the possible topics you might choose. And I'll just tell you in advance that I actually chose history, cacao tree, and chocolate products in my example. Okay. All right. I'm going to show you my keyword outline here in just a minute. But the next thing you do is just need to get right to making your keyword outline. Okay. So let me open up this keyword outline that I created. And again, now, when I had you in level 1, I said to have 5 to 10 points on your keyword outlines. But that was just a 1-paragraph paper. If you do 10 points on these keyword outlines under each topic, you're not going to finish. There's no point in doing that. 5 is a good number to include, okay? I'm not trying to get you to say everything there is to know about chocolate or about cowboys or about, I just want to see that you know how to take some information and write a good paper from it, okay? You don't have to have everything in there that exists as far as information goes, all right? So this is a keyword outline that I created from the chocolate article. You can see that I have the subject up at the top. And when I first started writing this, I put Roman numeral 1 intro, Roman numeral 2 chocolate products, Roman numeral 3 history, Roman numeral 4 cacao tree, and Roman numeral 5 conclusion. And then I went back and put facts, okay? Anybody have a question about that? No? Okay. Now, what is different about this is that what you can do when you're first doing it, you don't have to wait, is go ahead and list the things that you need to include for each section. So for instance, under intro, I just went ahead and wrote down attention getter. And I went ahead and wrote down 3 topics and thesis. I didn't write the thesis statement. I just wrote that there so I'd remember to go back and put it in. I already knew what my topics were, but I'm not writing down the facts yet. Then on conclusion, I reminded myself to restate my thesis, to restate my 3 topics, and to say what was most important and significant. Okay? Then what I did was go back and decide what I was going to include from the article in each of these sections. Okay? So on here, we just got through reading about that it comes from the cacao tree, that Mayas called it bitter juice and Aztecs called it sour water. That's enough. Now, I just quickly decided on a topic, on a thesis here. And that was that chocolate makes the world a more wonderful place. Okay? That's not exactly like a real academically sound thesis, but I don't care, okay? I just want you to have something there that will work as a thesis. And the most or the best or whatever. If you just look with me back quickly at the thesis templates, I think the very easiest one to use is to use that. It's the first one on page Well, oh, page 27. X is one of the most, blah, blah, blah. Or number 3, X has an impact or had an impact. Or number 5, X plays or played an important role in whatever. Those are really the easiest thesis statements, okay? So that's where I got that. That's where I got that from. Who in here is like super duper crazy about chocolate? Any chocoholics here? Okay. I like chocolate. I'll eat it. I don't seem to crave it like some people do, but I like it. But still, I did like that thesis statement. Okay. So the next thing I did was I decided when I was actually writing this that I didn't like the order that I had picked. And I was going to go ahead and do history first, and then the cacao tree, and then chocolate products. Okay, so that's okay. If you change your mind while you're writing, that's fine. But in the meanwhile, I just need to get some facts about these things. Okay, so let's look at the chocolate products section in the book. Okay, you're going to quickly, the only parts you need to read are the parts that have to do with the topics you picked out. Read the intro paragraph, pick out your 3 topics, and then focus your reading on the things that you picked. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's quickly look at chocolate products. Chocolate products are all manufactured from the chocolate liquor. They include a chocolate, cocoa, milk, chocolate, and sweet and semi-sweet chocolate. Baking chocolate is the commercial form of chocolate liquor. Manufacturers cool and solidify the chocolate liquor into cakes. The bitter, unsweetened baking chocolate is used in many baked products. I might have to go back and actually figure out what chocolate liquor is if I'm going to write about it, okay? But I'm not going to worry about that right now. Cocoa. In making cocoa powder, huge hydraulic presses force some of the cocoa butter out of the heated chocolate liquor. The mass remaining in the hydraulic presses is in the form of large hard cakes. Manufacturers change this remainder into its final usable form. That seems like a lot more information than I want. I'll skip down to milk chocolate. Milk chocolate probably ranks as the most popular. And then it explains what's in it. Sweet chocolate and semi-sweet chocolate are processed the same way as milk chocolate. Okay, so now I'm just going to have to decide what I'm going to include. I can't include a whole lot. 5 points at the most, okay? Oh, first I need to take a survey here. Who prefers milk chocolate? Laura Kate. Who prefers semi-sweet or dark chocolate? Me. Okay. Have you ever actually, when you were a child, saw some baking chocolate lying on the counter and thought it looked so good and you picked it up and took a bite of it? Ew! That's what chocolate tastes like when it doesn't have any sugar in it. Okay. All right. So this is what I picked from all of that. All chocolate products come from chocolate liquor. I might actually stick another point down here and define what it is, okay? Oh, I did here. That equals cocoa butter plus the chocolate nibs. I did define it. I forgot about that. Cocoa can be made into hot chocolate with sugar and milk, okay? Semi-sweet equals no milk solids. All right, so that's the facts I picked. You think you could write a decent paragraph from that? You don't have to write about everything there is to know. Now, if you like milk chocolate, you might have picked the milk chocolate facts, right? All chocolate products come from chocolate liqueur. You could list the different ones that exist, but of course, milk chocolate is the best, and then explain what milk chocolate has on it, right? You pick what you think is interesting and what you can make something out of. Okay, next thing I have listed here is history. So I'm going to glance at the history paragraph and read through it quickly. History. I don't know why I picked such long paragraphs to use for my keyword outlines. There's a good idea. Try to get something short, then you won't have to read so much. All right. Historians do not know how long the Maya Indians of Central America and the Aztec Indians of Mexico had cultivated cacao beans, but they cultivated them before Columbus arrived in America in 1492. Botanists believe the cacao tree originated in the Amazon Orinoco River Basin in South America. In this area, in the upper Amazon tributaries, present-day botanists and geneticists are searching for original types of cacao, which may have resistance to the diseases that plague this tree in cultivation. The cacao bean played an important role in the traditions, religion, and legends of the Aztecs. They believed that one of their prophets had brought the seeds from paradise and sown them in his garden. The Aztec thought that by eating the fruit, the prophet acquired universal wisdom and knowledge. Aztecs used cacao beans as money. They also ground the beans to make a rich beverage. In 1528, Hernando Cortez, the conqueror of Mexico, took some cacao beans to Spain. In about 1606, cacao beans were introduced into Italy. Shortly after, people in Austria and France began to use the beans. Eventually, their popularity spread to England. By 1707, cocoa became a fashionable beverage in London. Today, chocolate is popular in most of the world. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so out of all of that, I picked Aztecs, origins, used ceremonially, also as currency, originated Amazon River Basin. Now, just because you list things in a certain order doesn't mean you have to write them in that order when you start writing your paragraph. Y'all know that, right? Use the order you think is most best for whatever you're doing. Europe, 1606, popular by 1707. Just think about that. In 100 years, it became popular. That's fashionable in London. That's amazing. Aztec prophet, I would have put him first up here. That's why I drew this line. Thought chocolate gave them, the Aztecs thought the chocolate gave the prophet universal wisdom. Okay, my next one was the cacao tree. And let's look at the article on the cacao tree. The cacao tree produces the seeds or cacao beans from which all chocolate is made. These trees flourish in the warm, moist climate. They live within an area about 20 degrees latitude, blah, blah, blah. Most of the world's cacao beans come from the west coast of Africa. Brazil is the largest cacao bean producer in the Western Hemisphere. Cultivated cacao tree goes about 25 feet. It produces leaves, flowers, and fruit in all seasons of the year. The flowers are small. They grow singly and in clusters, blah, 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 blah. The ripe fruit, melon-like pods, 20 to 40 almond-shaped seeds. When these seeds are fermented and dried, they become the commercial cacao bean. Because this is interesting, because of a mistaken spelling probably made by English importers many years ago, these beans became known as cocoa beans in English-speaking countries. This causes many people to think that the beans come from the coconut palm instead of the cacao tree. Kind of interesting. So if you ever wondered where the word cocoa came from, there you are. It was a misspelling. Okay, now, then I just go back to my conclusion. That's it. All right, so does anybody have any questions about this keyword outline that I made? Any questions? No? Okay, so I've got this little essay that I started. I never have had one of these. I just used the level 1 single paragraph, but I decided I need to have one of these, but I'm going to show you briefly what mine looks like, and I will get the rest of it up. I'll get it all up on ThinkWave after class, so you'll have it to look at, because I think it is helpful to have an actual example of an actual level 2 essay, okay? The main thing I want you to see on this is how it's not incredibly neat. I don't know if you remember this from your level 1 final exam, but you don't have to make it pretty, okay? So this is my actual essay that I will finish. Let me do share screen. Okay. Now, what I haven't done here yet, and I will do before I finish this, is I haven't put a title yet. And I just came up with an idea yesterday, because sometimes people will actually forget to write their title. And so what I think would be a good idea, something I just suddenly thought of yesterday, is to take, oops. Do y'all still know where your colored sticky tabs are? Y'all still have colored sticky tabs? Okay, let's see. Vincent is trying to come back in. Okay, so what I would do is I would actually take a colored sticky tab and I would just stick it there where the title goes. So for instance, let me do it here on my sample copy. I would stick this right here and write title on it. Vincent, can you hear me? I think he's having trouble. I would just write title on it and stick a sticky tab right there, because you'll probably notice that, don't you think? In a bright color, okay? And that way you won't forget at the end to go back and make your title. Does that sound reasonable? Okay. So let's look at this together. First thing you're going to do is write an MLA heading when you actually start to write. And this is, I'm just putting my name because I wrote this, teacher's name, level 2, and then the date. And you don't have to double space this for this because it'd be halfway down the page if you were to double space it. All right. So just do it up here in the empty space, and then the title is going to go right here, okay? Okay, Vincent, you didn't really miss much. I was just saying here that in order to not, could you hear me when I was talking, Vincent?
Yes, I could.
Yeah, okay, so this is what I was showing everybody. In order not to forget to go back and do your title, it would be a good idea just to take a sticky tab and just write title on it and stick it on the top. That way you can remember to make your title when you're finished. Okay, so I thought this was really great. I loved how I started this. Have y'all ever heard this? People say this about all kinds of things. But this is my decoration. It's a quote. All you need is love and chocolate. Okay, so ta-da, the very first line, I finished with my decoration, and I only have to do one. Notice how I've done the ... underneath. Okay. And then this is what I mean when I say number your sentence types in the margin. It's hard for me to find them if you write them within the text like we do when we're typing, okay? So whatever line the sentence type starts on, that's where you write this. So this is a number 1. This popular quote highlights the passion that many people hold for one of the most famous candies in the world. All right. So that's my number 1. I got in my quality adjective. I got in my strong verb. Right. Number 3, this is my number 3 opener. Actually, the English word cocoa is a spelling error. Now, I had included that in my number 4 keyword outline. I'll show you that if I can get it to open. Originally, that was in my number 4 keyword outline, spelling mistake cocoa, but see how I drew an arrow up here and I decided I'd rather use that in my intro. It's okay to do that, all right? As long as I can read your paper, I don't care how much crossing out and all of that you do, okay? Actually, the English word cocoa is a spelling error. Chocolate derived from the seeds. I had to write in my double space here because I decided to go back and get rid of this. And I got rid of quite a lot, as you can see. Chocolate is derived from the seeds of the cacao tree. And I want y'all to see it messy like this because I want you to know this is okay. This is not a test on your handwriting. It's a test on your composing, okay? Number 5, although the Mayas and Aztecs began the history of chocolate, it rapidly spread around the world. Okay, so there's my first topic. Appearing in many varieties, chocolate abounds in forms from simple to extravagant. That's my second topic, chocolate products. Let's see, did I forget? No, where's my, oh, the cacao tree is my first one. All right, I might have to reorder these. All of these delicious confections make the world a more wonderful place. There's my thesis statement. Okay. I actually have these out of order. Make sure that you put your topics in the same order that the paragraphs are going to come in. So I would need to go back and fix that somehow. The cacao tree should probably go first. And then I just reflexively started writing about the chocolate history. But let's look at my chocolate history paragraph. Make sure you just go ahead and check off your dress ups and your sentence types as you write them. Okay, it'll make it easier. Here's my history paragraph. Chocolate history is intriguing. Originally, that's my number 6. Originally, the Aztecs discovered it in the Amazon River Basin. Here's my number 2. It starts with. With the seeds of the cacao, they created a drink to use in religious ceremonies, which they claimed gave their prophet universal wisdom. They also traded with it as currency. In 1606, I think I've already got all my sentence types. 2, 6, 4, 5, 3, 1. Okay, I do. In 1606, Europeans, that's not really true, discovered the rich elixir, which they then carried back to Europe. The Europeans prized it for flavor, and they continued, and that's as far as I got with my essay. But I'm going to finish this up and post it, maybe in a little less messy form. You do not have to go back and rewrite your paper, okay? Mostly people only have time to do one draft for this test, and you can see why, right? Keep your keyword outline short. 4 sentences in a paragraph is plenty, or 5. Just make sure you've got your topic clinchers. Make sure that you've got 1 of each episode of style marked, okay? And it doesn't have to be real involved, all right? So I am going to finish this up and post that. This is already posted on ThinkWave. This chocolate one, this chocolate keyword outline. The other thing you'll see posted is the number 14 composition checklist, and then you'll see kind of a redo of the level 1 paragraph thing, but I decided that's just not good enough. I really need to have a 5 paragraph example on there for y'all. So I'll have that up there soon, okay? Now, what do we need to talk about before we go?
I think I understand it.
Okay. I think this is pretty basic for y'all personally. You know, you don't have to come up with ideas for yourself. You can just get them out of the article. I'd much rather write from a source than think of it myself. So I know there's probably going to be questions once you've had a chance to think about this. So when you come up with your questions, I want you to let me know, because other people will probably have the same questions, okay? I get some really good questions from y'all, and I'm always happy to find out about them, okay? So is there anything anybody's thinking of right now that they would like to discuss? No? Okay. Yes.
On the last paper that we did, you know that little quotation that they have at the end, like about, like, I forget what the exact thing.
Near almost every, I mean, sometimes the best ideas can turn out to be
the one where it says, like, he's a bully saying that
I dare you to stop me.
I forget. Hang on.
I think it's I dare you to stop me. I don't know if we lost him or. Now we'll never know. Aiden, if you can hear me, and if you have any questions like right now, you can just put it in the chat box. I wonder if Vincent can see a chat. Okay, Aiden. All right. I've decided that I'm letting Vincent back down. I've decided that I am just going to go ahead and not use the video from last year. I'm just going to go ahead and edit this one and put it up because we have more talk about the actual essay. Okay, Vincent, I think I'm a green, I dare you to stop me or something like that. I'm the green bully of the South. I dare you to stop me.
I didn't change any of the banned words in that because it was a quotation. And you said something
Exactly.
about doing that. Was that right?
Exactly. You never change words in a direct quote. Okay. In the articles, if somebody uses a word that you know is banned, then you wouldn't use it unless it's a direct quote. You never change people's words. Okay.
Okay.
So, but just don't, if you're just writing, summarizing other things from people and they've used banned words, don't use their banned words. The only time you do that is if it's actually a direct quote. That makes sense?
Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't change that. Although you could have with this because you were just editing it, but I don't care about that. All right. That's a very good question. That can be very confusing. Okay. Any other questions right now? No? Okay. Well, if you don't have any questions, I can let you go early and I'll let you know as soon as this video is available for viewing. And other than that, please let me know if there's any confusion at all. Okay. I think a lot of questions will be answered when I have this whole thing up for you. Okay. Some of y'all write very long and you've done very well with doing that, but you don't have to make this a 300 word per paragraph thing. Okay. Make it easy on yourself. All right, you guys. Well, I've had the best time with you this year. Y'all have been excellent students, and I appreciate all the good participation and the good work that you've done. And it's hard to believe that this is the last time, but this is it. So I hope you have a great summer, and I hope I'll see you again. Thank you. Thank you, Aiden. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.